everyone, it's Linda from LyndaCreates, and I have a new Drawn to Stitch project, and I wanted to share the actual drawing part of it. I wanted to show what I've drawn, so let me go ahead and show you how I got to this point. So this is a stamp design that I did for Trinity Stamps. It's called Sardine Surprise, and it is still available on their site on trinitystamps.com. I designed these sardines with the idea that it's going to have a die to cut it out. So it had to be fairly simple, and these fish are designed to go either this direction or this direction. So I kind of had to simplify the design. Now I have this and I'm going to just add to it. I laid them out. I'm just going to do some drawing and make it a little more stylized because I can. I do like the idea of various shapes in it. So you can see that I'm going to follow some of the designs. I think they have another little fin that comes out somewhere here. I want to do, so I'm thinking something like this. Oh, you know what I forgot? Top fin. I forgot his top fin. This is the airplane sardine, because it looks like windows. The Japanese sardine, the submarine sardine, and the brickfish sardine. I don't know. Okay, so this poor little guy looks so sad. It's kind of interesting. Then I could do one type of stitching there, another here, and another here. Kind of interesting. Anyway, so that is the drawing part of the Drawn to Stitch. Now I'll take this, convert it into a digital file, and then stitch it. I took this and I transferred it over into a digital format. So now I have these fish. This is the digital file. Now from this, what I did was I took that and I printed it out on some sticky Fabri-Solvi. So here's the piece that I made. Now they aren't going to need to be stacked like this on the finished piece, so I can cut it apart, but I wanted to show you how I went from this stage to this stage. The first thing I'm going to do is something different. I'm going to embroider it onto a piece of felt. So this was the thickest piece of felt that I had. It's, I think, like 1.4 millimeters, and it's still soft, but I wanted it in, these are all scraps, so I wanted it in a color that was kind of close to the oceany blue. I'm using these soft aquas and peaches. So I'm just cutting it apart, leaving a little bit of space in between. So I'm going to start with that one first. And I'm going to give it a little bit of room on here. Now, because this felt is so thick, I don't need to use a hoop. I'm going to start off with a little bit of black. This is the sticky Fabri-Solvi, so I could peel off the backing. And I'm leaving a little bit extra Fabri-Solvi around the edges. And this is where the black thread's going to come in. What I'm going to do is, although it is attached down, I am going to come up and do some little stitches around the edge and just do it off to the side where I'm going to remove it later. But I'm doing it so that as I'm working, the edges of the Fabrisolvi don't pull and distort as I'm stitching. And I'm going to remove these stitches at the end, so I'm just going around loosely, just tacking it down. And I'm trying to stay at least 1/8 of an inch away from the edge of the design itself. Hold down the Fabrisolvi. So I'm starting with the darkest color first, the aqua, and I am filling in the very tight satin stitch, and I just want to fill in these areas, fanning out because they are these curves, just stitching back and forth. And because this is going to be a patch, I'm doing it the stitches tighter in an area. And once again, I suggest that you do guiding stitches, so you stitch in the angle that you want so that all the subsequent stitches will follow that same angle. And then once you have those established, you could go back in and fill in the area between the stitches. And it's not, especially in these tiny areas, it's not hard to do, but you definitely want to go and fill in the area. I was going to suggest two, because I'm using a scrap piece of felt. Again, it was the thickest that I had in my stash in a bluish tone. So it is about a 1.4 millimeter thick. If you could find a 1.6, I just chose this also because it is a blue color. And when you find felt, like I was looking on Amazon and they had thicker felt, but they said stiff, and you don't want stiff. You want soft felt, thick but soft felt. It'll be easier on your hands. And you don't want to leave any gaps. So you could see how I'm filling in those areas, and I'll just keep stitching. I have all those stitches done, and I just did the last stitch on the end here. And instead of tying a knot, I'm just going to go underneath that, and I'm just going to do a couple of short little stitches. And that's the beginning of it. Now I'm going to do a medium color. So I'm starting with the darkest color towards the smallest area of the concentric circles, I guess. And now I'm going to do a medium aqua. So as this area gets wider, I'm going to do more guiding stitches. So again, guiding stitches are just interspersed stitches that maintain the angle that I'm aiming for. So at any point as I'm filling in the stitches, I know where my angles are going. And in stitching a patch like I'm doing, I mean, this is similar to a machine embroidered patch, it's important to make sure you fill in all the gaps between stitches. Okay, so there's the medium blue or the medium aqua color in there. I finished stitching the back of my sardine. So now I'm starting on the belly, and I'm just going to do a satin stitch, and I'm going to do it more like just long and short stitches, but I'm going to do it in such a way that it's more of a needle painting. I could do longer stitches going along shading the belly. So I'm just kind of defining this edge with the lightest color. You can see where I've been stitching. I'm going to do the fins, the tail, and the head next. Okay, I have the eye finished. I'm stitching the face in the lightest aqua color. I'm doing guiding stitches right now so that I can see the direction I want to go. I will show you in a bit how I'm going to remove the sticky Fabrisolvi. This is National Embroidery Month, so you may have noticed I've been doing a lot of stitching. I'm using drawings that I did. I'm calling them Drawn to Stitch. And the month of September is National Sewing Month. I'm hoping to do more sewing projects coming up here soon. So I have my first sardine stitched. I'm going to cut it out. I'm going to leave about 1/8 of an inch all the way around. I'm going to use my fabric scissors. And again, I'm going to just cut leave it about 1/8 of an inch border all the way around. And this also includes the sticky Fabrisolvi. So I'm going to remove that next, but first I need to cut it down. So now I have it cut, except for the Fabrisolvi on the edge. What I have, just a paper towel, some fresh water, and several tools, and I'm experimenting with the tools. I have my little detailed scissors in case I wanted to do a little more detail on any of the cuts. Again, I'm trying to do it at 1/8 of an inch and do it as consistent as possible. Next, I want to add, because there is Fabrisolvi, and this is felt, I don't want to dip it all in water. So I'm going to add a little bit of water. I have my little water brush. I'm just going to do the edges. I'm going to do a little bit at a time. I know you could use like a Q-tip, but I'm using a spatula to kind of scrape it off. It is coming off. I'm trying to use, again, a limited amount of water. I think the nice thing is that you can disperse the water ahead of yourself and then come back in and scrape over here. So you see where the color is changing? That's where the Fabrisolvi is melting away. And if it's not coming off as easily, just add a little more water. I'm trying to scrape it away from the embroidery. You don't want to cut the threads, but you do want to scrape it all off. So it's still a little damp, but I'm letting it dry, and I've removed all the Fabrisolvi from the side. There's still the Fabrisolvi underneath the stitching. I didn't remove that, but I don't plan to wash it. I don't plan for it to get wet. So there's the back. That's a little bit of the black thread that was there from to hold it in place, the Fabrisolvi in place. So I can remove that. But that's my little sardine. Now what I'm going to do, it has that blue color around the edge. I'm going to finish off the edge, stitch around it. I think I'll do the gold. So again, I'm going to do 3 strands, and I'm just going to do a stitch around the edge here. Let me get it set up and I'll be back. I've let it dry a little bit, and now I'm going in with the gold floss 3 strands, and I'm just going to do a whip stitch around the edge. And I'm just going to hide all that, the felt that you could still see. Now, if you just take your time with this part, you'll end up with a really pretty clean stitched patch. Okay, so you can see how that's going to go. It will be a pretty border all the way around. So I'm just going to keep stitching on that, and I'll be back when it's done. So there's my first sardine patch. I plan to make more. I have a project that I want to combine with this, but I just wanted to make my first patch and see how that worked. The other thing too is I could put Mod Podge on the back. I don't know if I'm going to stitch this down to something or not, but this was sort of my experiment making my first hand embroidered patch. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed that, please like and subscribe, hit the bell to be notified, and leave a comment. And please check out my website, LyndaCreates.com, that's Linda with the Y, for more projects and inspiration. And check out my other YouTube videos. And happy Embroidery Month. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!